We do not grow when we reside in stagnation, when we remain in our comfort spaces and don't really push ourselves towards the bounds of our capabilities. Growth only arrives through engaging with resistance, through engaging with the friction of life. And this is why it is something so necessary. It is friction and resistance that truly allows us to understand our limits and where our deficits lie. And they provide the most authentic tests of those limits. We're often so conditioned to think that we favor comfort, that we favor rest, that we don't want to do stuff that is challenging and difficult. But I think this sort of disposition towards challenge, where we are reluctant to engage in it, is a psychological disposition which will ultimately lead to profound lack of meaning in the long run. And this is why the archetype of the hero's journey is something that is so you know um perennial in the human. It's something that we find echoed in the stories of many different cultures. This whole notion of you know leaving the safety and comfort of the familiar, of going out and exploring the unknown, the risky, the potentially dangerous. But ultimately, we have to engage with that unknown, engage with that sphere of chaos in order to really test ourselves, in order to really, you know, find the treasures of life. And, the hero is, of course, someone who doesn't reside in comfort. They are someone who is oriented by truth, and they are willing to ultimately engage in self-sacrificial behaviors in order to strive after that truth. And this archetype, it appears in all of us. We all hold it. We all hold that capability to look into the darkness, but also to find that light within the darkness, and also to truly engage with stressful situations, because we know that the meaningful life requires that. The meaningful life isn't one where we're just residing in total bliss all the time. There's no opportunity for growth in such states. You have to get mucky sometimes. You have to feel as though, the world is closing in on you in order for you to discover that deeper resilience within. And that's the sort of, that's the pattern we find in the dark night of the soul, which is a period of profound spiritual anguish and purification ultimately. It just rips you away of all the bullshit, of all the sort of the illusions that we cling onto, and it exposes you to that fundamental raw fundamental truth that doesn't it's independent of all the external things, as all the chaos of the external. We often cling to that sort of this illusory safety of the external. We think that we'll be happy and content when we arrange our external environment in just the right kind of way. But if you do this, you'll find yourself just chasing shadows ultimately. The true treasure that the hero strives towards, it's not to be found in the external. It's to be found on the internal. It's the internal transformation that occurs when you truly engage with darkness and chaos. You don't find this internal transformation of resilience and strength through, turning away from this heroic journey. You find it by looking ahead and exploring into it. Our species, the human, is a very exploratory species. You see this in children, but as soon as they have that sort of safe foundation of a secure attachment to their caregiver, they will naturally feel the the compulsion to go out and explore, to go out and understand their surroundings, to figure things out. This sort of drive of curiosity to understand the world. And true exploration is inherently risky endeavor. It has to be risky because you're stepping out of that safety and security. But we have to step out of that safety and security if we are to truly actualize ourselves. And that's the meaning of the heroic journey. It's the leaving of the safety and the familiar into the unfamiliar, because ultimately it's in the unfamiliar where the fruits, the treasures of true growth lie. I think in all of our lives, we should think about where are we remaining stagnant? Where are we rejecting this call to explore the unfamiliar in favor of a illusory kind of safety? Is when we sort of sit too deeply in our rigid routines and our rigid patterns of safety. It feels nice and comfortable in the moment, but it's not challenging. It's not growing and developing us. It's not providing us the necessary resistance for growth, for self-understanding, for self-actualization. It's like in weightlifting. In order to grow your muscles, to develop that strength, there's the necessity of the resistance of the weight. There's the necessity of the stresses being applied as stimulus for your muscles. And the heroic journey is the ultimate weightlifting for your mind. It's the ultimate weightlifting for your capacities. It's the ultimate initiation, really. And it's our responsibility, if we are truly motivated by the pursuit of truth, to initiate ourselves by going into that darkness, that chaos, by exploring that unknown, wherever it lies. And it's in that exploration of the unknown where you will truly discover yourself. That's why we must all do it. Anyways, that's been interesting and insightful. Enjoy the rest of your day. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. But yeah, just a short little riff on what was in the old noggin. Sorry, I had to slap my head because I'm weird like that.